Namaskaram, everyone. One of the Anna actually asked me a question, and it actually could not be ended with a few lines of answer. Because of that, I'm recording this audio. So Anna has a question that in life, the things which give us happiness or pleasures are the one which will kill us one day. Things like fast food, cold drinks, alcohol, drugs, sensual pleasures, etc. But if we do it in moderation, then it's fine. That means nature has already put a limit on those happiness or pleasure. Actually, this is not actually true. Whether you enjoy or not, eventually we are going to die anyway. So if there is already a limit of happiness, then why do humans work in a pattern of education, job, marriage, kids, and so on? And any achievement people reach will give happiness or satisfaction for a certain amount of time. And after that, people get used to it, which also means that happiness isn't forever. So in other words, there is a limit up to which any human can experience happiness, pleasure, and also it will only sustain for a certain amount of time. So it is quite strange that this question is arising. But anyways, nevertheless, I think this is a general kind of question that is with everyone. But for the initiated seeker, I believe, anyway, I'll answer this. So the shortest answer is why this question is coming, that the happiness does not last forever. It is only because you are still in process of inner engineering yourself. You have not completed inner engineering yourself, which basically means you are philosophizing your life based on your past experiences. And not only happiness, everything actually in your life, whatever you experience, is going to be temporary if you let the situation control you. So that is why if you inner engineer yourself, not only happiness, but also joy, bliss, ecstasy, even your own destiny will be in your own hands. If it is in your hands, obviously, it is going to be 24/7 on. So I think if you have watched or listened to the previous recordings or not, we have already discussed this many times, that as long as you are in the domain of mind, you can never find eternal fulfillment. Only because the mind walks in a duality. For the mind, for you to experience happiness, you need to have certain kind of discontent or sadness or something. And also, it's the reverse is also true. For you to experience sadness or suffering or something, you have to be happy first. Because it's just like this. Without a day, there's no night. And without no night, there's no day. So, the only reason you can attain, the eternal happiness or whatever you want to experience is only in the state of samadhi, which basically means equanimous mind, where the mind has lost its duality of both happiness as well as the sadness, because happiness and sadness are the two sides of the same coin. And this is basically what the forest flower is all about. If you notice the previously published magazine by Isha, the paper one, and now we have a digital edition. The forest flower basically means a person who has completely inner engineered itself, or the one who is established in yoga. Why forest flower? The main reason is, for example, here, if you are living in a city or somewhere where people are living, people will grow beautiful flowers based on their taste and everything. Somebody likes roses, somebody likes jasmine, and so on. But if you go to certain forest, let's say you go on a trek in the Himalayas, or you go to Kumara Parvata or Western Ghats, If you go over there, like even where like the remotest places, even there the flower is still blooming. The flower is still blooming, and the flower is neither cultivated by people. Uh, it does not need any appreciation that, oh, flower, you look very beautiful, and so on. It doesn't work that way over there. The flower blooms by itself, and it's the same thing with the inner engineered person, or the person who is established in yoga. Because now, like, your happiness comes from within you. The bliss, joy, and everything comes from within you. So only when you have transcended your mind, the eternal happiness is completely possible. And you might be asking this question, although you have been practicing your sadhana for a long time, you might still have distributed the remote controls of your life to various people, the society, your family members, the person you love, or like you are attracted towards or something. And because of that reason, you are still, feeling inadequate, and then you are unable to, peek beyond the wall, what per se. So, and another thing is, there is actually no limit to your pleasure or everything. Yes, the body cannot handle certain amount of pleasure for extended period of time. That is completely true, but that is the physical limitation. It's just like you wake up for a certain period and you go to the sleep only because what? To recharge, and then you continue the next day. And so that the limitation of body is not limitation per se. It's just like a recharging itself, so that you can live the life to its totality as much as you can. And when you push all your limitations to the threshold, that is where it becomes yoga. And if you think the nature has put limitations on you on experiencing happiness or pleasure or something like that, you are correct if and only if you don't, practice your intelligence and let the, the mammalian and the what is it called, like the reptilian brain to work through you, which basically means the compulsions. So that is what it is, and that is where, like a Sadhguru nicely put that, only if you have access to the dimension of the chitta, only then you can have, the eternal fulfillment and happiness and so on. As long as you are in the domain of your intellect, which is of duality, which we refer from the Western terminology as, the mind, a buddhi. Which is actually the slave of the identity and the memory of it is. I wouldn't say slave, but I would like to use that term. So when I answer this, Anna actually asks the another question. He says that, so yogis who have crossed all limitations can experience unlimited happiness or pleasures. And don't they miss out little things like friends, families, etc.? So when the yogis have crossed all the limitations, if you cross all the limitations, like Sadhguru has mentioned earlier also, you will not be able to hold your body for an extended period of time, and that will be the point of Mahasamadhi also. But there are ways through the Kriya Yoga and Bhakti Yoga and different spiritual practices, you can actually experience the unboundedness by holding on to the body. And Kriya Yoga is one of the the most effective way which you can sustain for longer period of time, which is very scientific in nature. Everybody can try it. Bhava Samadhi, which is which you can also experience through the Bhakti Yoga or the devotion, which most people are not capable initially, but once they go through Kriya Yoga, they can slowly have access to this dimension also. So yogis can continuously experience this, but not all types of yogis. Jnana yogis can submerge into that one. For example, there are many yogis like that, but people who, if you really want to experience something like the most effective way, like for the beginners or like people who have been practicing and still need to reach to that stage, Kriya Yoga is the best way. If you do Isha practices, then the advanced programs is going to help you there. It will take a little bit of time to flower it, just like Sadhguru puts a very nice, the analogy that you need to focus on, the roots rather than the fruits, because roots requires a lot of gardening, you need to do a lot of irrigation, you need to take care of it. So you need to do a little bit of farming and gardening process over there, and it can take a little bit of time based on that. And but still, like the grace is there. You should try to be available to all this kind of, grace and everything. So here, like and another thing. What Anna asked was like, don't they miss out little things like family, friends, etc. So when we say yoga, or like let's say, like I'm not only talking about like the glimpse of like the glimpse of the beyond. There are many people who have experienced that, but they fall down and then go back to forget about that kind of experiences. They get engaged because of their karma and everything, because they have not established because they have experienced this because of the grace, or like they have been to like a certain kind of energy places. But the grace and then the energy places, they are the external like stimulus or the catalyst, or which actually created that experience in you. Like you didn't actually, what did you say? You didn't actually cultivate it or, be deserved to access that on your own. So when you actually establish in the yoga, yoga basically means the union. So if you are in the union, there is a word in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. There are many words to explain the same thing, but the closest thing, like what you're asking, will be answered by Patanjali himself. Like what it says is, once you have reached to all these like spiritual states, you push your threshold, and in the beyond, you reach to the final stage of something known as Kaivalya. Kaivalya actually comes from the word Keval. Keval basically means like, I think it's can sound like a Hindi also. So Keval means like a one. Okay, so Keval means one or single or only one or something like that. And you can also translate this word as Advait or Advaita. So Kaivalya basically means, Kaivalya is a state, like if you read Patanjali Yoga Sutras, you will see. So Kaivalya basically means like you have come to the realization that like everything is your own making. Everything is your own making, and there is nothing or no one else than yourself only. And you can actually experience this. You can actually experience this. So once you have come to this realization and everything, in that kind of states and everything, like your friends, families, society and everything, they are just you. They are just you. You can intellectually come to the understanding that like they are all connected and everything, but like you can actually experience that like they are yourself. They are all yourself, because if you didn't have a memory, they couldn't exist. And like if you look into the memory also, like a memory also is a created thing and it belongs to you only. If you don't have a memory, they don't also exist, at least for you. So when you come to the realization that everybody is a part of you, not part of you, like you can say as a part of you also, like when they are all you and everything. But at the same time, like Sadhguru says that like there is like a interdependent relationship between each and everything, or like everything is one, but we also have this like an individual experience because of the memory and then the identity we take, which is actually the survival process. So when you come to this state of experience, now what actually happens is, now you have broken that what we refer as a Maya, the illusion of the individual self. Now you have opened to the reality, the truth, or the Sat. And that is where, now you have a choice, based on your karma or whatever reason. I cannot go into detail. This is going to be too long. You can either, stay in that state. That is what is referred as, in Buddhism, it's referred as a arhat. And there is another kind of being, another class of the people who are realized or even yet to realize. They are classified bodhisattvas. So basically, for example, when you came to this realization, and when you look into the people are all in illusion. They are creating the suffering for themselves. They are happy and everything also. Not only suffering, but they are going on their own life, just like we were before that kind of experience. So in that case, you come to this realization that, okay, these people are going through all this toil and everything. So you have a choice to, get involved. And this is where, Sadhguru says, life is just a drama. Life is just a drama. And then, you just play the relationship in an inclusive way, so that you don't get entangled. You are not going to create karmas for your sake, but you try to mitigate other people. Most of the people think that after becoming spiritual or something like that, they don't care about parents or something like that. You don't need to worry about these kind of things. You just need to focus on the sadhana, and when you reach to that kind of realization or something, you'll come to understand that they were no different from you. They're actually you. And if what we refer as the another person is no different from you, hating, cursing, or thinking themselves as a burden or your responsibility to them does not arise, all the actions and everything will come naturally. Just like you are trying to support yourself, you will do the best of your ability. It doesn't mean that you have to jump yourself and then try to change everything. It's not like that. You just play your role. That's it, best of your ability. And on the I'll just add there's a second question. I'll add that into the another subject in a moment. Namaskar.